10 interesting facts you may not know about Hadrian's Wall. 1. The wall stretched for 73 miles, 117 kilometers, across the width of northern England, and was made of stone, with ditches and fortifications along its length. It had gates that may have been used as customs posts and was guarded by soldiers stationed in large forts, smaller milestals, and turrets along the wall. Despite being a major cultural icon in Britain, Hadrian's Wall was never actually the border between England and Scotland, it lay entirely within England. 2. Hadrian's Wall was originally planned to be 10 feet wide, but was eventually reduced to around 8 feet or less depending on the terrain. Some parts of the wall were made of turf and timber, while others were made of stone. This means that the wall would have had a varied appearance depending on the materials used in its construction. 3. It was guarded by soldiers stationed in large forts, smaller milestals, and turrets along its length. The milestals were small forts that were spaced approximately every Roman mile along the wall, and were used to house troops and to control movement through the gates in the wall. The turrets were smaller structures that were positioned between the milestals, and were used as observation points and as places for soldiers to take shelter. The combination of these fortifications along the wall would have made it a formidable defensive structure. 4. Hadrian's Wall may have been whitewashed after its construction was finished. There is some evidence that Hadrian's Wall was covered in plaster and then whitewashed. Its shining surface would have reflected the sunlight, and been visible for miles around. This would have made the wall highly visible, and perhaps more imposing to those who saw it. 5. There were pits or holes known as ippy pits located on the berm or flat area in front of Hadrian's Wall. These pits contained branches or small tree trunks entangled with sharpened branches, which were likely used as an anti-personnel measure, similar to barbed wire. These ippy pits may have been used to deter or slow down enemy forces that were approaching the wall, giving the Romans time to respond with additional troops. 6. There is evidence that the route of Hadrian's Wall was shifted to avoid the Vellum, a ditch-like construction with 2 parallel mounds running north and south of it that was built alongside the wall. This suggests that the Vellum may have been an older construction, and that the wall was built to follow its route rather than the other way around. This has led some historians to speculate that the Vellum may have been an original border built before the wall, and that the wall was a new, replacement border built to strengthen the Romans' definition of their territory. 7. It was not a continuous barrier, but rather had a number of breaks or gaps in it. These gaps, known as interspaces, were likely left open to allow the Roman army to move troops and supplies between different parts of the wall. The interspaces were also used as crossings for local people and as places where Roman officials could collect tolls from travelers. Despite the presence of these gaps, Hadrian's Wall would have presented a significant obstacle to anyone attempting to cross it without permission. 8. It was not the only defensive barrier built by the Romans in Britain. In the 3rd century AD, the Romans built another wall, known as the Antonine Wall, across central Scotland. This wall was similar to Hadrian's Wall in many ways, but was built on a different scale and was made of turf rather than stone. The Antonine Wall was occupied for a shorter period of time than Hadrian's Wall, and was eventually abandoned in favor of a return to Hadrian's Wall as the northern frontier of the Roman Empire. 9. John Clayton was an English lawyer and antiquarian who is known for his efforts to preserve Hadrian's Wall. He trained as a lawyer and became town clerk of Newcastle in the 1830s. He became interested in preserving the wall after visiting the Roman fort of Chesters and started purchasing land along the route of the wall in order to protect it from farmers who were taking stones from it. He carried out excavations at several sites along the wall, including Silurnum and Housesteads, and used the profits from his farms to fund restoration work on the wall. 10. In March 2010, to mark the 1600th anniversary of the end of Roman rule in Britain, a series of 500 beacons were lit along the length of Hadrian's Wall. The event, called Illuminating Hadrian's Wall, was intended to highlight the cultural and historical significance of the wall and attract tourists to the area. On the 31st of August and the 2nd of September 2012, there was a second illumination of the wall as part of a digital art installation called Connecting Light, which was part of the London 2012 festival.